We're going to be taking a look at how to use widgets. They are especially useful for the home page. They are also used within your other pages for the images that appear above the title. Go over to Appearance and then Widgets. Then you will see that we have a lot of information here all on this one page. On the left side you have all of the widgets that are available for your use, and there are a lot of options here. We'll take a look more at that in a moment. On the right, then these are areas that you can add widgets to on your website. For header right up here, for instance, this is where we have our menu inserted for the home page and for all the other pages for that matter. And then we have a custom menu added here. And you select the menu that you want, and it's main. That's the only menu we even have created. And you can learn more about creating menus on our other video. But you select main, and that's it, and that's all there is to it. Within each one of these widgets we have a thing called widget context, and we can determine where this will show up at. If you wanted there to be a different menu that appeared on different pages, then you could do that and have it be that some options appear on one page and not on another, and that could be something useful to you at some time. If you want to make those changes, you can say show widget on selected, and then you can choose where you want it to show up on. And then these here are options that have to do with global areas, so on all the posts, all the pages, only the front page, all these different ideas like that. You could do it by post types, not something that we're really working with too much, or you can have a specific URL that you only want them to show up on. That'll make more sense here in a moment when we take a look at the home page below menu. We have a primary sidebar section, and it's not a place that we're using right now. And we could if we had a blog, or we could even without a blog too, and it would be something that would go along the right or the left side of the page, and it would include additional information. Maybe you want to have a Twitter feed over there, or you want to have a contact form that shows up on every page on the right side. Then we would use the primary sidebar for that. It's not set up at all. You could use it right now. It wouldn't necessarily appear as you want it to appear at this moment though, because we haven't done anything to get that ready. It's not a part of the website at this moment, but it could be without a great deal of trouble. We have our homepage below menus section, and maybe that's not the best wording for it, but it is what goes underneath the menu and appears on pages. And in fact, it's everywhere but the home page, so it's a bit of a misnomer, I suppose. But these are the images that show up. So for instance, we have image right here. If you ever wanted to add a new one, it's over here. So it's easy enough just to click and drag it over here. This is what we are using right now for the networks page. And you can choose your image here easily enough. Click choose image. Select the image you want there. It doesn't have to be a particular size for this purpose right now. It can be more narrow or more wide, taller, shorter, whatever you want is fine. And the size though, then you probably do want to have full size. You probably optimized it, made it just the right size for the purpose that you have. If you wanted it to be that this linked to something else, you could add a link, either by entering it manually or by clicking on the magnifying glass. And you could find it here from things that you've already created. You could add some text underneath it if you wanted to. Not something you'd probably typically be doing in this case. We have it to show on selected. We put our URL down here. Now the URL that we choose for these, when we want them to show, on the page, then we don't use the full URL. It's only the ending of it. So you can imagine that before this would be heartwaychurch.com/about-us/our-networks. But we take off the HeartWay Church part. If you have that on there, it will not work. So you leave it as it is like that. You can make notes down here invisible to the public. If you just want to keep some secret ideas about it, whatever little secrets you want to keep there are yours to keep. We have these images all along here. They're all set up the same way. If you want to have one in a new page, and we just go in and we click Add Image, you could have this appear at the top, and we don't want it to link anywhere right now necessarily. We don't want it to show everywhere though, so we click Show Widget on Selected, and we say every post that we ever make, we want it to appear there. We don't even do posts right now, but if we start having a blog, then we might. We say we want it to appear there. Now it will show up on every one of those. You click Save, and it's ready to go. Or if we want it to be that it's only on a specific URL, then we can type it in, whatever it is that we want it to be on, and we would type it in there, and it would show up. We don't want this, and so we will click delete. As we go on down, we see that in home section 1, all we have there is the soliloquy shortcode. This is the slider that we have on the home page. There really shouldn't be a reason that you would ever need to change this information on home section 1. Its only purpose is for that slideshow, and you could add other information beneath it, but for this particular text widget right here, that's all you need. And we saw in the soliloquy tutorial how to find that shortcode, so if you ever need to change it for some reason, then you can. If we wanted to add something else beneath that slideshow, we could. If we wanted to have there be an image underneath that slideshow, then we can just have it here. And we'll go ahead and do this real quick, just so that we can have a little bit of an idea of how this would work. And then we'll delete it right away so that it shouldn't impact anyone else. Going to click Save. We're going to look at the home page, and we're going to see if it's there and what it's done to the home page. We still have our slideshow there, just like always, but right underneath it, we have that image. And there's no good reason for it to be there. But if you ever wanted to add something else in there, then it would be an available option. Let's say, for instance, this might actually be something useful. If you're in a situation where you have bad weather, I first thought it was winter weather, but you're in Miami, so you're not going to be having winter weather. But what you could have is a hurricane coming through. So due to hurricane activity, not that you really have hurricanes that often, but it's more likely than winter weather. Due to hurricane activity, we are not meeting tonight. And you can put that up for a day and have it be on there, whatever you want. Now, it appears here on the page, and it could be a notice that everyone can see. Maybe not the thing that you would actually do or the way you would do it, but it's an available option. That's really what we're looking at right now, so you can just get a feel for how these things work. For home section 2, we have nothing right now. We can add something more there later. It's formatted in a different way. You can always add something there to see what it would look like if it was there. But we are taking advantage of home section 3 in a big way. This is our image that we have that appears on there. You can add a new image there if you decide that that's not really the look that you want anymore. Then you can change it out to something else. And we have it here. And switch it to a new image, and that would be fine. And then we have our different sections that are for the 3 little widgets that we have showing across here: About, Join, and Find. You can make adjustments to these. You do want to be a little bit careful. The length of the text needs to stay fairly similar. And if it changes to a great degree, then you'll need to come to us to help fix the sizing issues that come about as a result of that. Part of being responsive, responsive design, a mobile-friendly design, means that we need to have these things be relatively similar in size, or they're going to start to do some things that are a little bit funky. You can go in here, you can make changes. There's a little bit of extra stuff in here. We have up here that there's an image, IMG, that stands for image. That's our little heart that we have appearing at the top. If you want to change out that image at some point, you can. You would probably need to ask us for some advice on specifically how to do that. We have the H2, that means a header. That's a specific size and style of font, and that's why we have these being larger right there. So if you want to change it, instead of about, you want it to be about us, or whatever else you might want to put in that slot, then you could, but you want to leave your H2 and your /H2 on each side so that nothing gets messed up. You can change your text in here without trouble, do whatever you want. Down here at the bottom we have a Learn More link. That's what the A and the href means. It means it's going to point them to the About Us page. And if you ever want to make a change to where that is going to, then it's just the end of the web address. So you have heartwaychurch.com, and then whatever comes after that is what you would put in this little slot right here. We have 3 of them, and so then we have a little bit different content within each one, but they all function essentially the same way. It's a little bit more crazy on this one because we're showing the map. This stuff here where it says iframe and then all the way down to /iframe, that's just the map that shows up there. That's the way that Google does it, and it embeds the map functionality there within that widget. Now, we do have the simple social icon part here as well. It's already set up with all these features. You could change it some. You probably don't want to change the size radically, or again, that could cause some other issues. But if you want to change the colors, then that would be fine. If you want to add a new social media account, that would be fine. Maybe you get a Google Plus account. Maybe you get a StumbleUpon account, whatever that is. Whatever you want to add, then you can, and should be able to work basically okay. If it ever turns out that you have a large number more of the social media accounts and you have some sort of trouble with the way it appears on the home page, feel free to contact us and we'll help you get it all sorted out so that it looks just right. Over on the right side, we have Home Section 4, and we have nothing there. Home Section 5, and we have nothing there. But they're available options, and it's good to have that resource for the future. Now, this section here that says before entry is not something that we're using right now. Now, when we say entry, we're talking about a post, so that would only be with a blog post, not something that we're doing right now. We can deal with that another time if we ever get to a place where we have a blog on this website. Footer 1, we don't have the second footer, we only have the regular ordinary footer, and it's not controlled from right there. After entry would be with the post again as well. These are the things that you can control from here, and you can feel free to mess around with these to whatever extent you want to. You have these other widgets over here that you can try, and just see if they work. And if they work, that's great. And if they don't, then depending on what it is, you might just want to give up, or you might want to come to us for some help, and that would be fine too. We're happy to help out with something like that.